Welcome back to Underdog Stuff, live radio show and podcast. Today's show, Words with Friends Part 2. The words and phrases that describe what's going on in politics, culture, and our personal life. And we also have summer hours. We're normally 1 to 2, but we're going 2 to 3 today. And we have a special guest in the building.
Hey.
Entellekt.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Hey, man. Appreciate you in the building. Rapper, writer, and producer. And I want to set the stage for folks. I want them to first know how we know each other.
Keaton.
I'm gonna play something that we know, but maybe all the underdogs listening and watching don't know.
Word, yo, check me out. Welcome to Word, a positive station focused on truth and unity. By working together, we can save our community. We going over the issues that really matter and show the youth that the hood is something they can't get out of. Download the app and you can listen to us live, whether relaxing at your house or you're working your 9 to 5. We provide the perspective from both sides of the story. 900 AM Word is the perfect start to your morning. Different guests every show that we think you should know. Not just the same 5 songs back to back in a row. The 3 youth of this time we come down and spit a flow. 30 minutes later, I'm on the intro for the show. But yo, this is the station that be keeping it real. Call into our lines and tell us just how you feel. Here, giving you the news that applies to you. The best black talk station, I wouldn't lie to you. Word up! It's Keaton Nichols and Gregory Nesmith live on another Word Up.
Word up! What you know about that?
Know a little song.
So for folks who may not know, Entellekt was the person you just heard rhyming on what was the intro to the Word Up show.
Right.
Which was a show that covered politics, black culture, and sports on WRD FM and AM radio station in my hometown of Philadelphia.
Right, they just switched to FM.
Yes, they did, 96.1.
Matter of fact, I was the last musical guest they had on before it switched to FM. I was like, Keaton, you really couldn't wait like a week until the switch.
And so it's funny you say that because just so folks know, the voice you heard at the end of that intro was that of Keaton Nichols.
Right.
Introducing the Word Up show where I was co-producer and co-host with Keaton. And to your point, I actually got to guest host the lounge a couple weeks ago.
Right, yeah, you told me.
On 96.1 FM. So
see, I'm trying to get like you.
I know. See, so I know what you're saying because I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, this is the first time I've been on FM radio in Philadelphia instead of 900 AM.
Okay, but you know what, guys? We here in Harlem. We on 90.3 WHCR. Holla. Now we in New York today. We in this state.
Yeah. So what we wanted to talk about today, while we're in Harlem, is the journey of an underdog of making it in the music industry.
Oh, man.
And talking about the whole idea of when to stay and when to go.
That's a good question.
Yeah, so we're going to get into all that.
All right.
But I want to start before today.
Okay.
Give me 2 numbers to these 2 questions.
Okay.
The age that you first knew you wanted to be an artist. And the second number is the age when you first did something as Entellekt.
Okay.
Start with those 2 numbers first.
I've been rapping since I was like 16, messing around in school and stuff like that. And then continued after I graduated high school, I wanted to do music. So like I moved out here and stuff to New York and that's really what gave me more power and ambition and determination to do this, because I went from being in Pennsylvania to a place that didn't have that many rappers around to a place where everybody raps. So I think when I really wanted to be an artist, it wasn't till I was maybe like 21 or 22. I really didn't get serious about it until a few years ago.
But that's where I want to go first. So 16,
okay,
first time you knew you wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
21, when you actually started to take actions to be one.
Right. That's when I started doing shows and stuff like. So when I was 21, that's when I was, really Entellekt. I came up with the name Entellekt in high school, but I didn't really start using it as a rap moniker and stuff until until I was like 20, something like that.
So for the underdogs out there, because I think we all go through this, there's this, I want something.
Right.
I'm 16.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, I wait, and not as a wrong thing or right thing, but I wait 5 years until 21 to go put it in action. What was in your way between 16 and 21 that was holding you back from launching something?
I had to mature and really just get my mind right. And I think a lot of rappers, they just kind of rap and put videos and songs out, and they're like, oh, somebody will discover me, and you know, that's it. But it doesn't work out like that. You really got to be out there grinding, going to every shows, traveling, spending all your money. Like, it's crazy. I think I lost the question, but
Yeah.
Well, the question was literally, and you started to answer some of it, which was what got in your way between knowing something at 16 and then actually taking action at 21. And part of it was, you say, going through some type of maturity of who you were.
Right. Yeah. I think I just had to, you know, figure out who I was, figure out, you know, really what I wanted to do. Like, when I was in high school, I actually wanted to play football. I wanted to be a professional football player. And then my senior year, my junior year, I switched high schools, and I went from a school that was in playoffs every year to a school that they wouldn't even play me because they had all these older kids. So my junior year, I think, that's when I quit playing football, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to just do this rap stuff.
Very cool. And now, a couple years later, or like, let's say you're 21, you're starting the journey. What did you ever think at any point of stopping?
I thought about it all the time.
When you say all the time.
All the time.
So that way, if there's people listening right now who are starting their journey in the industry,
right,
and they're like questioning it literally.
You're going to have those thoughts all the time. Unless you're just one of those people that's really lucky enough to, somebody just discovers you like off a YouTube video. It's like your first song you ever did. I mean, some people have that luck. I don't have that luck. So I really had to just, you know, grind it out. But there's, you know, there's times where, you know, you're working a job that you hate, and you're doing this on the side, but this is really what you want to do. So then you're like, damn, you know, this isn't really, nothing's really clicking. Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe I should just work. And then, you know, I had times like that where I stopped rapping for like a month and would just focus on working and trying to save money and stuff. But then you're miserable because you're not really chasing your dreams. So it's like throughout my life, I have this constant battle of, should I really pursue this and keep doing it, or should I just kind of give up and be normal? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And there's nothing wrong with just, you know, going to work and all that, you know, but I think certain people, they just have certain ambitions to do certain things. And ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be, you know, hanging out with celebrities and being in movies and, you know.
Well,
I'm a class clown. I've been that dude trying to get attention for a long time. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting? It's funny because, I mean, Gregory knows this and Kirsten knows, but like, I used to do music when I was younger. I used to actually be a rapper, like when I was younger. Pretty much the same ages that you're talking about, right? I was doing it. I had mixtapes and albums out when I was like really 16, 17, 18.
Where'd you find this?
You know, and like, but what's interesting is like, you know, that crossroads when you come to the time in your life where you're like, do I give this up or do I not? Because I know exactly what you're talking about when you're like, yeah, when you're an artist and you're just starting out and you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you got to pay for yourself to go on the road, to go on these tours, like pressing up your own CDs. Like I was doing all of that. You know what I mean? Every single thing. And you got to, like, your little money you're making at your little job when you're 18, like, can barely, you know, support you to do these things. And it's like,
not cheap.
Exactly. And I think what's interesting for me is that, you know, I came to a point probably when I was like about 22, 23, you know, where I was like, okay, I got to make a decision. And I was in, you know, university and that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And for me, luckily, I came across advertising and marketing as a career path, right? And for that, it allowed me to be all of those things that I was doing in music and still get to, like, I mean, when you're making commercials, like I've met celebrities on my commercial shoots. I've done projects where we're sponsoring events where I get to meet other music artists and DJs and get to talk to them and things like that. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, when you think about, it's about sort of, and I've always been surprised at how like freestyling can help you in a presentation because you're able to like think on your feet. You know what I mean? You got to like improvise, you know? And I think it's really sort of a lot of the times when, you know, you do music and you have such a special gift of writing and performing and things like that, you don't look at those things as transferable skills, you know? You don't. And I was lucky enough to sort of fall into that kind of career and that kind of industry, I was like, oh, there's something that I would like to do besides being like a star, like that's, you know, and, like, which was like a major like moment for me in life, you know. And I think, you know, it's just really interesting to just kind of hear like different, you know, paths. And I think for anybody listening, you know, if you are doing music and, you know, you've been doing it for a while and you're not sure sort of what to do, if you do end up going a different path, don't give it up, because that's sort of who you are inside, you know. And even though, you know, you can transition to another type of career, you're always going to have that gift in your heart, you know.
See, my thing was every time I would actually get it, like, okay, so like last year I was working at FedEx and like I made good money. I was making like $600 a week, but I was barely working. I was only working like, I think my shift was like 2 to 5 or 6 or something like that. I didn't work weekends, so I could still do my music stuff, but I hated being there. I hated my supervisors. I hated all my coworkers because they hated being there. So it was just a building of energy where nobody wanted to be there. And then every time they send you to the office, they have these conversations like, you know, you like working here, don't you? There's not too many other places you can go and make this blah, blah money. And like, you need them. Right? So at one point, I can't remember what happened. I think I had to do a show, and they wanted me to work overtime, and I said no. And they laid me off, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And then, like, the week after, my cousin calls me, and he's like, yo, I don't know if you're busy, I don't know if you work or whatever, but this band I know is going on tour, and they want me to open for them, and they said it'd be cool if I bring a rapper, so I don't know if you want to go. I was like, yeah. So I packed my bags, went to Massachusetts. I think the first show was in D.C., and we did, like, 26 cities. We got paid, you know what I mean? I got to see a bunch of cities I've never seen before, meet some celebrities, producers that I've been rapping on their beats for a while, and that changed my life.
And you know,
as soon as I got paid for my first show, I was like, I'll never work a regular job again.
Exactly.
Well, I think what's interesting is that, for one, you touched on the feeling, which is when you aren't doing it, you feel miserable.
Right.
And I think that's also something for people to always be mindful of, like, is what they're doing making them smile, or is it making them sad? And so you clearly know that something related to entertainment makes you smile. Also,
half of the time.
Half the time. And also,
there's a lot of self-doubt, there's a lot of depression. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's a lot of depression, Gregory.
Music is insane, bro.
Well, so that brings me to another question, which is, why do you do it?
Because the reaction that I get from people when I perform, or just people telling me like, hey, I really like this song, or you know, I just downloaded this. Just the fact that people want me to do this allows me to know that I should be doing this. Like I'm just looking at it like, I'm getting paid to do this. If I shouldn't have been doing this, I wouldn't do it. I mean, there's like comedians that aren't funny that are still doing it. You know, there's musicians that put out music that only a small demographic like, you know what I mean? But hey, I feel like this is my niche. I've had enough people telling me I should do this.
And you weren't here earlier. I want folks to know that Entellekt is not throwing shade at our award-winning advertising executive.
No, I know.
Comedy writer Asha Davis, who did some testing out some jokes before you came on.
I feel like I'm doing advertising. I want to be a comedian or something. So anyway,
although I saw a Facebook post about you maybe doing stand-up.
I'm doing it.
So don't act like you don't want to do some stand-up.
This rap stuff ain't the end of the line. I want to act. I want to do all types of stuff. But.
So that leads me to, how will you know whether to keep going or to pivot to something else?
I feel like when I don't want to listen to my own music anymore, then it won't be fun anymore. And I think that's it. I think just the day that I'm just like, you know what, I'm not having fun with this anymore, then I'll do something else.
Like stand up?
Right. Well, I have a cousin that does it, and every time I link with him, we just have each other cracking up, and he's been telling me for years I should do it, and so I'm about to. I met Michael Shea last night, and I got him to chuckle a little bit, so I was like, all right, you know what?
Well, I just want to make sure that you and Asha don't all of a sudden go on a comedy tour.
Why not?
Hey, if the brand's right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if the money's right.
Underdogs, it may just be me next week with Kirsten and M. in the studio because Entellekt and Asha are going on tour. With that said, we're going to take a quick break and come back with some more Underdog stuff. Entellekt, we still have to play word association game with everybody in the studio. Talk a little journey of the underdog. More Underdog stuff. Words with Friends Part 2 after this break.
Oh yeah. You know. Oh. Hey, so if you're lonely, you can call on me and I'll be around. So if you're lonely, you can call me and I'll be around. And I said, girl, I just can't help it. Guess you could call me selfish. You know I want you all to myself. Said I've been waiting and I've been patient, 'cause you're in a situation. Who am I to tell you anything else? Oh, said if you're you can call me and I'll be around. You only call me when you mess up, I know that. You get a sense of what's real, then you go back to the same more that you was just complaining about. Girl, it's over with, is there left to straighten out? That's why you exploring your options, of fighting with Charles Johnson. Know why you deal with the nonsense. You need a man that is honest instead of some broken promises. And I don't know why I give you advice, you do the opposite. You hard-headed, confused, don't know what to do. Yes, you like your cake and like to eat it too. Ladies is pimps too, that's what hoes said. But if you keep playing these games, then sure you go ahead. I guess we'll see where it goes. Just know I ain't in all that drama like reality shows. But this will end up, neither one of us know.
Welcome back to Underdog Stuff with Gregory Nesmith, live radio show and podcast. And in the building, we have Entellekt, rapper, writer, and producer. And he's sitting next to his soon-to-be person who they're going to go on a comedy tour together. And next week, we'll have to figure it all out. But in the meantime, like they say, seize the day. I'm going to enjoy the fact that they're both in studio right now and make the most of it. Hopefully, I'll at least get a free ticket.
That's wishful thinking, Gregory.
Oh, see how they do. See, hopefully I'll be around, which is the song we just played.
Right.
Coming out of the break.
I see what you did there.
All right. We were talking about your journey as an underdog. The fact that you are happy when you are rapping.
Finally. Yes. Finally happy.
And not so happy when you are not.
Right.
And so we want you to make it happen. And grateful to have you in the studio and also just play some of your music. With that, though, there's other people listening who want to be like Entellekt.
Right.
Underdogs who want to make it in the industry. What's one or two tips you have that'll work for you that could maybe work for others who want to keep going after the grind and the hustle and the unexpected fun of going from underdog to on top in the industry?
You have to always be constantly thinking that someone's outworking you. That's like the best way I can explain it. Like anytime I feel like I'm getting lazy, I have to think that there's somebody else that's been in the studio for like 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you just have to become a different beast. Like you really got to want it in the entertainment industry. Unless you have the right connections to put you in the right position to win, you have to be in different places all the time, bumping shoulders with people who do what you do. That's another thing I can say is meet and hang out with people who do what you do on a level better than you, so that you can constantly learn from them and just be a sponge. Like when I was on tour, when people were getting drunk and stuff like that, I was just learning, okay, how can I book my shows? Who do I have to talk to book my shows? How is that conversation going to go? just learning everything as far as how running a tour and doing my own shows, so that when I got back to Pennsylvania, I could do it, and that's what I was doing. But it's all about just figuring everything out. And if you don't know the information, then just find somebody else that has it and just learn as much as possible.
I love that. We often talk here for Underdogs that partnership matters.
Yeah.
So aligning yourselves with others so that you guys can work well together and build together. And actually,
Right.
before you came on, we talked about bartering, where people are exchanging value and services and products with each other. So I love the fact that you not only want to be in the room with folks, but also don't mind if the other people are smarter than you in that room in that specific topic, so that you can learn from them.
Right.
And then I agree with the outwork people thing.
Yeah.
Effort, man.
Yep.
It matters. And I'm a big believer in
Somebody working when you're not. That's
Yes.
how you got to think about it.
Yes, and I believe that we build our foundation on, if you can find something that you're passionate or curious about, that serves people, that people enjoy what you do,
Right.
and then be willing to become extraordinary at it. And so that, to me, aligns with the whole idea of the work ethic. Now, if folks want more Entellekt,
Right.
they want to hear you, come watch you perform, follow you on social media, what projects do you have coming up, and then how can folks stay in touch with you?
All right. Well, first off, my name is Entellekt, but it's spelled Entellekt. And I got
Words with friends.
Yeah, yeah. And I got music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, SoundCloud, pretty much any app that has music streaming, I'm on it. I got videos on YouTube. I got some mixtapes on DatPiff. But right now I'm working on an album that I'd like to put out in the fall or winter, but that's if it's done by then. And I've just been releasing singles like every other month. That's another thing I can say for rappers. Putting out singles nowadays is more important than putting out mixtapes, because people, I feel like, have less of an attention span now.
Yep.
So they don't want to go through a project that has 20 songs, because they're going to go through, listen to 15 seconds of it, figure out what they really like, and just continuously listen to those songs, and maybe lose track of other ones. So it's better to just put out singles and, get the streams off of those, get people anticipated for a project, and then put a project out. Not just, okay, I'm rapping, and then just put a mixtape out. And then now you have to push those mixtapes, and no one knows you.
Yep. No,
Whereas if
I
you
get
do it on the reverse side, and you do a single and you put out a music video and stuff, now you basically have a commercial that pushes your products.
So, marketing.
Yes. Yes. You're a musician, you're your own marketer, your own tour manager,
your own publicist.
Everything.
I love it. A bonus tip.
I gotta make a new resume, 'cause now that I'm thinking about it.
See? You are, it's Entellekt 360. Not just the rapper, but the business man. All that's not just a business, but a business man. All right. Very cool. And for those who may have missed the spelling, when you go to any of the social media for Underdog Stuff and for the show, we will have Entellekt's information in that feature post, and for the podcast, which will be coming out tomorrow. With that, though, Entellekt is going to stick around for our next segment, which is Words with Friends Word Association Game, where we say a word, and everyone in the studio gets to say 3 words as their initial thoughts or reaction to it. Now, last week we tried this out, and not everybody was able to get to the 3 words.
This guy's looking at me
Folks were saying
like
sentences, giving preferencing what they're about to say. I say a word or phrase, you get 3 words. The 3 words can be 3 separate words, can be a sentence, but 3.
Why are you looking at me like that? They can't see you.
Because
on
you're
the
guilty.
radio.
Yeah, because people who watched or listened last week know what I'm talking about. Kirsten, I'm looking at Kirsten too, because I think she did it too.
No, she was actually pretty good. Yeah, she was pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, well then make sure you're near that mic too then.
3 is my magic.
Well then get near that mic then. All right. All right. We're going to do a quick one on culture and music, since we have an entertainer here.
All right.
I'm going to say a word, whatever comes to my mind, and you get to say 3 words. R. Kelly.
How did I know it was going to be R. Kelly before you even said it?
3 words.
Free hotel stay. Too soon?
No, that. Let's see if anybody can match that.
I'm mad I said it that fast. Like, I've been thinking about it all day.
Kirsten Mackwood, can you match that? R. Kelly, Entellekt, following the rules, gave 3 words.
Needs to stop.
Also good.
That's also good and great advice. Asha Davis, 3 words. R. Kelly.
The Pied Piper.
I
How about doing the most? How about that one?
To say the least.
I actually want my 3 words to be a Dave Chappelle skit, but I'm not sure I can say it. So on you. Beep on you. So with that, I'm going to move on to the uninhibited question of the show, where Asha Davis asked me a question that I don't know what the question is going to be, and I have to answer on the spot.
So this week is a part 2 of last week, right? So last week was Words with Friends, and if for folks that tuned in last week to our uninhibited question, which was words that make you go, this week's uninhibited question is going to be the opposite. So what words are the words that make you go, ugh, when it comes to the ladies?
Words that made me go, ugh, when it comes to the ladies. That's an interesting one. A word or phrase, right?
Words or phrases. You know, last week you said sexy. You know, when women call you sexy, that's what really gets you going. So,
and I say when they say enjoy it too.
When they also say when they enjoy it, yes. And so
Which
the opposite
that they
is
enjoyed watching or listening to the podcast.
That's what he said. If that's what the boys are calling it these days.
Watching me perform.
Me and Shorty going back to the crib for the podcast.
Podcast and chill.
So back to the question. So this week is the opposite. So what makes you go, ugh?
What makes me go, ugh? I would say, what comes to mind? Phrases like, my dog normally sleeps in the bed with me.
She probably kissing him in the mouth too.
So so folks who don't know, I didn't grow up with pets.
You heard it here first, guys. So if you are trying to be in a situation with Mr. Gregory Nesmith, make sure that if you do have a puppy, that he does not sleep in the bed with you. At least not when Gregory comes over.
Yeah, and there's some dog lovers out there. For me, that's not how I roll, but there was this one time, this woman, she loves her dog. And her dog, she goes sleeps in the bed normally. So, mind you, you're talking about if someone asks me, do I love dogs? Sometimes my answer is, I'm neutral. And any dog lover can read through that. They're like, you really don't like that.
Yeah, like, I love dogs, but...
Because they got to be a really bomb dog for you to like.
Yeah, like, I'm the dude who's like, I'm not afraid of him. I don't mind him. But if the dog comes around, I'm not petting him. I'm just like, I'm like,
you won't even pet the
Whose
puppy.
man's is this?
Yeah, who you rolling with? Like, I'm good.
The man asked the dog whose man's is this?
So the situation I was in is that literally I'm laying in bed with this young lady who's like, loves her dog. Dog's like, oh, dog always sleeps in bed. At one point, the dog goes under the covers.
Were you in the nude at this point?
I was dressed for bed. Take that as you and literally, she's like, yeah, the dog normally likes to lay by my thigh.
By her what?
Her thigh.
Oh, okay.
So literally, all of a sudden, the dog is by my calf. Laying there about to go to sleep. I'm like, there's a woman on my left, and there's a dog who I'm neutral on dog, laying about to sleep by my calf.
So now you really don't like them.
Yeah, so things that make me go, like, dogs in bed, let alone laying by my calf, under the covers, not happening.
My first question would just be, how often do you change the sheets? That's all.
It wasn't my sheets.
No, I know. I'm just, you know what? That's okay. I love dogs, and I don't know if I'm as scared of that as you are.
Okay, so you don't mind a dog sleeping by your calf?
No, I don't. I do.
Oh,
I do.
With your
I don't mind. I don't mind a little puppy jumping up onto the bed, but I don't want it like in the bed when I'm naked. Oh, people can't see the fish. No. Anyways, it's okay. I agree with you. Good job.
Yes.
Thank you for answering the question. That is another segment of Uninhibited this week.
So, in closing, I'm neutral on dogs, and I'd like to give a big shout out, obviously, to all the underdogs who listen to us on WHCR 90.3 FM or watched the show today on Facebook Live. We appreciate you. Also, shout out to the Underdog team, Marlon, a.k.a. M. Dot, holding it down on the ones and twos, Kirsten Magwood, and Asha Davis. And shout out to our special guest, Entellekt.
Yeah.
Rapper, writer, and producer who was in the building today telling us about his journey as an underdog. And, as always, podcasts will be live and ready tomorrow on all the places you listen to podcasts, iTunes, Podomatic, Google Play, Stitcher, and you'll be able to hear everything from today's show. With that, I leave you with my favorite quote. Underdogs, can't nobody do it like you do it. Nobody.